Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another review. And this time I'm doing The Stepfather, the original 1987 film. This is one I've wanted to see for a long time, but could never really find. I just picked it up. I really wanted this when I was doing my 70s and 80s slasher marathon, which I guess it is kind of a slasher film technically, but it's definitely more of like a psychological thriller with some slasher elements thrown in. You don't really hear people talk about this very much. It's always got great reviews. A lot of people like it. I know Hellhound over at Horror Metal, this is one of his favorite films. And I never really seen a slasher like this. And I guess if you really wanted to do a slasher film built around this kind of character, this is the only way you can do it. But yeah, basically just about a guy who is obsessed with the notion of family, all American family, the perfect family, and the perfect American dream life. And when that doesn't add up, when they disappoint him, he changes his appearance. He finds a place semi far away, gets a new job, gets fixed in over there, and then kills his family, and then moves over there and marries into another family and tries again. But this doesn't really feel like your character-driven slasher films, like say Maniac or something along those lines. It actually, the way everything is done in this is like scarily realistic. In fact, the writer of this, Donald E. Westlake, he was there had been a story about this guy named John List who had fallen on hard times and kind of snapped and shot his wife and kids, all five people, and then he just vanished. And at this time, he hadn't been caught, but 18 years after the murders, he was caught. In fact, if you're into like true crime like I am, you could probably find it by itself. But there's this box set inside the Criminal Mind. And there's 2 discs of notorious serial killers, 2 discs of unsolved mysteries, and 2 discs of just rampage killers. And one of them, this one, there's a whole episode, hour-long episode about family killers. And it is a real thing. They're not all quite to this extent. I mean, this is definitely fabricated, but the way it's done is it's creepily realistic. Like I said, this is someone, if they were smart enough, they could do this. Probably not this easily, because I mean, this was back in the 80s. I mean, when the film opens up with the sorry, it opens up with Ontario Quinn. He's the stepfather, and he does a wonderful job. He does a great job at being, you know, the nice dad figure that's also really creepy, got some stuff going on. And then when he has his outbursts, his rampages, he does that very well. But when it opens up, he's in the bathroom. He's got like longer hair, a beard, and glasses. Kind of looks like David Koresh from Waco. But yeah. And so, it shows him changing his appearance from this to that. And he's in like the greater Seattle area, and he pretty much just goes like an hour away. And he's able to elude police and start a whole new life. Nowadays, like with the internet and shit, you can't fucking do that, but. And so he marries this woman with a 16-year-old girl who's not really into him. She thinks he's kind of creepy. All the while, there's this guy from the whose sister was the mother of the first family, his ex-wife. And he's trying to find the guy that killed his family. It's a 1 year difference. It jumps. But also, just that opening scene just really sets up where this guy is mentally. He's in the bathroom, changes his appearance. He goes from beard and hair to clean and, flannel to suit. He walks out of the bathroom with his briefcase. There's a toy on the floor. You just see him kind of go in the room and put it away. He walks down the stairs and he walks by the living room. And the living room is just full of, you see the bodies, there's blood, furniture's overturned. That's when the music, it has really, who did the music? Does it say? Patrick Moraz. It does have like an 80s vibe to it, but it has like this creepy, this eerily pleasant music, but then like when you see that kind of shit, it really opens up. It gets like, opens up into like scary music. And he just like, he picks up like a cushion off the floor and he like puts it on the chair and he like straightens it, fixes his tie, and he just looks around, he walks out the door. And then like it pans down and you see there's another daughter, young daughter, dead on the floor. And there's sort of like this Silence of the Lambs shot where he's whistling to himself. He picks up the paper and the camera just pulls back and up as it just shows him looking totally different. Nobody recognizing him. Just walking down the suburban street, kids playing outside, neighbors jogging and doing stuff. So then we pick up a year later. And that's when he's already married to the other woman with the 16-year-old. His former brother-in-law is trying to find him. And, nothing is super far-fetched in this at all. I mean, he, like the way he evades people catching on to him and how his former brother-in-law finds him is both smart and realistic, so I gotta give it that. I'm not gonna spoil everything, but Terry O'Quinn really owns this movie. He does a fantastic job. Just certain things he does with his eyes or his smile, his body language. You can really tell this dude's a fucking psycho. In fact, I also like how towards the end it shows how he's going to start his cycle all over again. But yeah, this is just a really enjoyable. I haven't really given much away, but you really only see like 2 deaths in this, like 2 kills. So I mean, it's not Friday the 13th or even like Maniac, or it's sort of a Maniac type film. You know, it's like a psychological character study in a slasher film. But, you know, instead of the grungy underbelly of New York, it's like suburbia, American Dream type stuff. And just, and I mean, I will admit, I am a fucking neat freak. I like things in a certain order and organized and clean. And there are times where he goes down to the basement and he's just smashing shit and screaming at himself. It's like he's talking to himself, but he's not looking in the mirror. He's just like, I just wanted some order. All I wanted was a little order. And then, like, at first that tagline, like, who am I here? I was kind of just like, before I saw this, because I had never seen this before. I had heard of it, but I could never find it. Stepfather 2 and 3 is on YouTube with Spanish subtitles. Or Swedish. Maybe I'll watch those, because Terry O'Quinn is in Stepfather 2. And I think it picks up right after this. I do have the remake. That's going to be my next review. I've seen bits of that. But, you know, I really like I don't want to keep saying psychological, but I mean, like, how when he feels his unit might be jeopardized. Like, when people, like, he has like a barbecue. He works in a real estate, and he's super charming. So he has people that he sold houses to in the neighborhood come over, and some guys are looking at a newspaper and it says like Slayer of Family still sought, and they're talking about it because it was only like an hour away, and he's just like, oh, I don't know what could drive a man to do that to his family, and just he feels like they're on to him even though they're not. So you get to see that paranoia. And again, Terry O'Quinn, fantastic job. Pretty, I don't want to say underrated, because, you know, fans of this film do like him, but his performance is not talked about that often. And I don't know what other kind of releases there are out there. This is a newer one from Shout Factory. So it comes with the Stepfather Chronicles. It's about a half-hour retrospective, but it's really just about like the people behind the scenes. But still pretty interesting. But yeah, I really like the "Who Am I Here" scene, because, you know, what he does is, it's alluded to because when his former brother-in-law, he's talking to a reporter back in like Seattle. They're like, I don't know, he quit his job the week before. He left at the same time every day, came home at the same time every day. No one knows where he went, and then he just killed the whole family. So that's like when the brother-in-law is like, wow, he only could have gone, you know, this far on the map to still have the same commute. So we find out like what he's doing, because later on, when he's gonna do it to the family that we're following. He goes away. He quits his job. He gets a new job with the new disguise, like glasses, changes his hair, fake mustache. Rents a house, sorta, starts courting with another single mother. That's when he gets ready to kill his family. So his wife calls his the real estate company, like, oh, he doesn't work here anymore. He hasn't worked here for days. So he comes home. He's like, no, I still work there. It's like, that new receptionist, I'm gonna call her and just. He's like, how hard is it to remember my name? Like, Hodgkins. She's like, what did you say? And he's like, wait, who am I here? It's just the way he does it. It's like you're living two separate lives, to the point where you can even forget who you're supposed to be. And then, the whole thing where he's trying to kill his family at the end. It's not over the top. I mean, The Shining is my favorite movie, but even in The Shining, like, Danny boy, that's a little over the top. It's not like that in this. And, like, even the daughter suspects that he might have been the killer from that family. So, like, she sends a letter to the article in the paper asking for a picture of him. But he gets to the mail first. He sees the picture, and obviously it's of him, so he, like, freaks out. He puts a picture of some random dude in it. So that's basically what this movie is. It's, a guy who, and you get that he's had a troubled past, but it doesn't explain it. I know originally, like in the original script, it was going to show him as a kid being abused through like flashbacks, but the director didn't want to do that. The director wanted it to be like a mystery. It makes it creepier and scarier if you whatever you come up with in your own head. I agree. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It might not be the most straightforward slasher, but like, a lot of movies, like say a slasher or a body horror film that tries to add psychological thriller to it, it can kind of take away from it. I mean, I love psychological thrillers, but like if I want to watch a slasher film, I want to see a slasher film. But I like the psychological suspense and thriller that this movie added. I really liked the setting of like all-American suburbia. A guy, was a serial killer who's trying to blend in, who just, is obsessed with family, like the old stereotype of like the evil stepdad. Shirt and tie, straight lace, wants perfect order, perfect family. Like the daughter gets expelled, and she wants to go to boarding school to get away from him, and he's like, can't tear apart the family. There was one funny part where a guy from her school walks her up to the door to say goodnight to her, and they kiss. And he just opens the door and he's like, I will have you arrested. You can go to jail. This girl is 16. And the kid's just like, so am I. He's like, he was about to rape our daughter right on our doorstep. But yeah, I love Tara Quinn's performance. Whether he's, really psycho, freaking out, or he's, smiley, charming, or he's, within himself. He does a great job. Really like the idea of just a super realistic, plausible chameleon kind of serial killer that just blends in from family to family, place to place. And yeah, I still think it's super realistic, except for the distance between, each family. I mean, I wasn't around in the 80s, so I don't really remember when life was that simple. I grew up with the internet, so yeah, I know you have to like bleach your hair and leave the country, basically. But yeah, this movie was better than I expected. I really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. Maybe at some point, since they're on YouTube, I'll do Stepfather 2 and 3. I've seen the ending of 3 on cable years ago, so I know how that ends. But 2 still has Terry O'Quinn, so that could be interesting. But, yeah. Next is going to be this, and I'm not excited for it at all. And then I'll do an episode of Reslash for those. So, anyway, if you really like Stepfather, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoy my review, and I thank you for watching.